Hello everyone and welcome to the Sports Gazette Roundup show where we round up three big stories from the week, this week just passed in football. The first one being Julian Nagelsmann moving to Bayern Munich from RB Leipzig at the end of this season. The second one being Christian Pulisic becoming the first American to score a goal in the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. And the final one, and this is a special one, it's the Arab Cup in Qatar being sort of a prelude to the 2022 FIFA World Cup at the same place. Let's start with another one of Bundesliga's young talent. This time it's a coach moving to Bayern Munich from RB Leipzig. And to talk about it, we have Lucas from the Sports Gazette. Lucas, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you.
I guess the first question I'm supposed to ask is, are you even surprised at this point?
I actually am a bit, to be honest, because I didn't expect Bayern in the end to pull the trigger for 25 million. That's a lot of money. Weirdly enough, the Bundesliga we don't pay a lot of transfer fees. But this year it started, we just spend money on coaches. Hütter to Gladbach for 7 million, Rose to Dortmund for 5 million, now Nagelsmann for 25 million. Is it worth it for 5 years? Pretty much so.
There was a lot of discussion, especially in this country, about the German model, the 50+1 model, especially after the Super League announcement. And it was said that the 50+1 ownership was a good way for the fans to own the club. Is this one of the disadvantages of that model? Because Bayern Munich, as we've seen, they've established themselves as the elite in the league, and it's almost impossible for anyone to knock them off their perch. So is that a disadvantage?
I think there's a disadvantage pretty much everywhere, in every league. The only thing in Germany, it's quite fair. The thing what Bayern did, like for decades more, is that they just are really well with like doing their monies and managing it. So they're not in debt at all. So they basically just spend what they have, what is pretty much what every club does. But some of them obviously are in debt and they have to pay off some debts, what Bayern doesn't have to. So I think they earned the spot to do this. So I like the 50+1 rule really much. Of course, there's still like some issues. Bayern, for example, does a lot of training camps in Qatar, which a lot of people and especially the fans don't like. That's what Borussia Dortmund did as well, not in Qatar, but I think it was in Dubai. A lot of fans disliked it, and now they stopped going there for training camps. So the fans have a lot of power, and I don't think it's a disadvantage. Just Bayern does it the best.
We shall see. Yeah, at the end of this season, we shall see if Nagelsmann is indeed a success in the Bundesliga. Lucas, thank you very much. 25 million, as he mentioned, he will be moving at the end of this season, and it's going to be a big one. Bayern Munich are still in the race for if they are going to win the Bundesliga, so we shall see how it pans out. We'll go for a short break now, and then we are back. As I mentioned, Christian Pulisic scoring the first goal by an American in the Champions League. Be right back. Welcome back everyone, and it's Pulisic time. Chelsea have secured a 1-1 draw against Real Madrid at the Di Stefano Stadium yesterday, and which puts them in a really good position going into the second leg at home at the Stamford Bridge. And the reason they are in that good position is because of Captain America, Christian Pulisic, scoring the first goal, opening the scoring, amazing solo goal. And to talk us through it, we have Mitchell Marshall of the Sports Gazette. Mitchell, Pulisic, amazing goal. How are you feeling? How is the country feeling? Tell me everything.
Everyone's really excited. Obviously, it's been up and down for Pulisic with injuries, with being in and out of the favor of two managers already. But when he's at the top of his game, so coming out of the first lockdown and now coming into the very end of the season, when he's on form, he looks world class. That's really exciting. But there's a lot of burden on him. You know, he was the replacement for Hazard at Chelsea. He is leading this new American generation that we hope is more competitive. So there's a lot of stress on him. I think the solo performance of that goal was incredible. More importantly, he looked really lethal on the right side. He usually plays on the left. And in all honesty, Timo Werner should have at least put in one, maybe two goals off of really strong scoring chances that Pulisic created. So you have to be excited about the kid overall, and remember, he's only 22.
There was an interesting dichotomy in this match because Hazard, the one he signed to replace, was on the other side, and he came on in the 70th minute, didn't do much, but he's been injured the whole time. Do you think Pulisic has, I know he's been out of favor, a bit injured as well, but does he have the talent to maybe match Hazard's career at Chelsea?
No. I say that with there's hope, And I do think Pulisic could be in a position to score more if a team was built around him, but I don't know if that's the strongest way to build a team. I don't think it is. I think Hazard overcame his circumstances. It's not like he's been thriving and destroying over at Madrid. He's not lived up to what they were hoping yet. There's still time. But the amount of goals he scored for Chelsea, he was the man there for so long. And Chelsea, in this money-hungry time, is going to have to keep turning over that squad to try and compete with Man City over and over again. I think Pulisic can be really good. I think there's a point when you could say he's easily one of the best players in the Prem. But Hazard really was the man for a little while. And that's why he went to Madrid, coming off of a time when Madrid had just lost one of the best players in the history of the game.
Finally, what do you think this means for the US men's national team? Because playing in such a high-level, high-stakes game, do you think that bodes well for high-pressure matches with the national team as well?
Absolutely. It's something... We know Christian was brokenhearted when the US missed the last World Cup, and him playing at the highest level in these competitive matches is only going to make him a better leader when it comes to the US playing in important games. But another few US players have just won cups. Serginho Dest, Weston McKennie, there's a player for Genk, and I'm forgetting his name, but even little games where you're winning trophies. Zach Steffen got a clean sheet in the cup final for Man City. Playing for trophies matters, even if it's, look, no one cares about the Carabao Cup that much, really. But just being in a competitive situation, holding that trophy and wanting that level of victory, I think playing at that level for all of those guys is, Christian has to lead the way, so this is only more positive for his experience and the US squad.
We shall hope it goes well. Michelle, thank you so much. And that was that. The final story of tonight comes to you from, as I said, Qatar, as it's the 2021 Arab Cup. We'll go for a break, and when we're back, we'll have Abdallah from the Sports Gazette to discuss that. Welcome back, and our final story of the night, as I said, comes from Qatar. It's the 2021 Arab Cup, and we have Abdallah to discuss that and more. Abdallah, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So, 2022 World Cup in Qatar, the FIFA World Cup, and as a prelude to that, fans can get excited about the Arab Cup in 2021. For the ones who don't know much about this, tell us a little bit about it.
Basically, 4 groups of the Arab teams, and the top 9 of those make it without any qualifiers. The bottom 14, which contain the likes of Jordan, Palestine, Comoros, Sudan, other countries as well, are going to have to play against each other to get the other remaining 7 spots. So it will be 4 groups with all these Arab teams. Top 9 will qualify directly. The bottom 14 will have to play playoffs, and the tournament will be held at the end of November in the opening game, of course, which Qatar will play. So it will be a massive tournament of its size, specifically when we're talking about how good Arab teams have been as of late and the resurgence of football in the region. So this tournament, if it delivers what is expected, is going to be one of the biggest and most exciting ones to look forward to in this year.
What are the dates? When does it start? When does it end?
It starts on the 30th of November. First game is going to be the Qatari national team's first game, and it depends against who because of the qualifiers. And yeah, it will start in November and it will last for a month.
Do you think the transportation, all the residential facilities, all of the country is ready for hosting this at short notice as a prelude to the World Cup?
Of course, yeah, the country is ready to host anything at this point. They've hosted the last Club World Cup and the one before it, and they're 100% prepared to host any tournament at this moment. So a tournament of this size, obviously, and this new, this fresh in the minds of the viewer, is definitely going to generate some excitement in the region. And specifically when we're talking about the Arab Cup, when you say the Arab Cup, no one is gonna, react oh, Arab Cup, what's interesting there? But when you look at the Arab teams that are in this competition, the likes of Algeria, the likes of Egypt, the likes of Morocco, the likes of Qatar, who have won the Asian Cup, they're the hosts, they're qualifying, but they've won the last Asian Cup, so they are the leaders of the region at the moment. And you have other teams as well that could, be a surprise, like teams like Iraq and Saudi Arabia and other big teams as well in the tournament. So this tournament, when you're looking at it from a competitive level, and you're looking at these teams and their history, this is, I think, in my opinion, the strongest that Arab teams have been at this stage. And you can see how football has developed in the region, and you can see also players like Mohamed Salah, Mahrez, and you're seeing more Arab players reaching that world-class level outside of the region as well. So This tournament is going to gather teams from Africa, Arab teams from Africa, teams from Asia, and it's going to show us truly who is the best in the region. I think that's a question that a lot of Arab fans from different countries want to know the answer to that question. Who is the best Arab team in the region?
Your prediction?
I have a soft spot, obviously, for my country, Palestine. I want them to make it. They're not going to win the tournament, obviously. But if I were to support a team, of course, it would be Algeria and Qatar. I would put these two as the two favorites, with Morocco, of course, being a close third. But I do think that this comes down to Algeria and Qatar, depending on what kind of squads we see also from those teams. Currently, we're not sure if we're going to see these teams field their full lineups or not. But if they do, this tournament promises to be one of the most exciting ones for this year. And that is no exaggeration.
Well, thank you very much. As he said, a lot to get excited about. November of this year, Egypt has Mo Salah, Morocco has Hakim Ziyech, Algeria has Riyad Mahrez. A lot of world-class players will be taking the stage in Qatar this year. So definitely one to look forward to. That's it from us on this roundup show for the Sports Gazette. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.